such a fucking smart thing.
Yeah.
That guy's awesome, man.
I like the
big fan.
225 weight class.
Yeah.
And even the 195 weight class is good.
They should do 10. They should skip 70 and do 10 every you know, like do 25, 35, 45, 55, 65. Just go 10 every. 10 is good. 10 makes sense.
Yeah.
When you got like 70 and then you got 85 and then you get 85 and 205, that's too many pounds.
What was I mean, GSP versus, what were they going to do? GSP versus Bisping?
Yeah.
I've tried to explain this to people because I've been in the room and stood next to those guys. Bisping is a big man.
He is. He's
and
a big
GSP is a normal sized guy. I don't see how that fight was going to be fair. You know?
Well, also Bisping is currently active. GSP took years off. Bisping is capable of fighting at 55, he says. Bisping said he can make 55.
Wow.
Yeah, so if he wins at 180, 185, he has thought about fighting either at 170 or at 155. Like, what the fuck?
He's a big dude. Strong. I've trained with him. He's a big, strong. He's what, 6'2", something like that?
Bisping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's tall. Yeah. He's big.
He's got fucking incredible cardio, too.
Yeah, for sure. He's a hard worker.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy is a perfect example of just like the ultimate like bulldog mindset and just refusing. And now look at him, he's the champ.
Yeah. And he took that fight on what, a week's notice, 2 weeks notice against Rockhold to win the championship?
Yeah, not even that. I think it was a few days. I think it was like 11 days notice or something.
What's Rockhold
crazy.
doing now?
Just being pissed, talking shit to Dana White on Twitter. Because he was mad that GSP got a title shot and he hasn't earned a title shot yet. He's like, what the fuck did GSP do? And, oh man, the whole weight class is in a flux. And there's a funny meme of because Bisping said that his knees hurt because they said that the UFC said they want him to fight Yoel Romero because the GSP fight is off. And he's like, well, actually my knees hurt, so I can wait for GSP. So he's like, I can't really train right now. I'm good. I'm just gonna sit back and take a little break. So there's a funny meme of GSP or of Michael Bisping in the hospital bed that says Bisping be like, I'll just sit here and wait for GSP.
Oh, that's harsh, man. Yoel's a savage.
He's terrifying.
But that really bummed me out when Tim Kennedy lost to him.
Well, that was cheating.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened.
It was cheating.
And that was horrible.
Tim did a little bit of cheating in that fight, too.
What did he do?
He grabbed his gloves.
Oh.
He's grabbed the inside of his glove and punched him in the face a couple times while he's holding Yoel's glove.
Oh.
But people show that in slow motion. But what they don't understand is you're showing slow motion. Like, it looks like he's holding onto it for a while and punching. In real life, it was less than a second or maybe a second. And it's probably just chaos.
Yeah. And he's grabbing hold of something.
Just throwing shit, whether or not he actually knew that he had his glove consciously.
The gloves make a really big difference in grappling.
Yeah,
and
huge.
You got to train with them if you're going to fight with them. You know,
well, securing chokes. I mean, even Damian Maia, you see him get rear naked chokes with the hand on top of the head, like old school Ken Shamrock style.
Yeah.
Like he'll because he can't get the hand back there. He just can't get it.
Yeah, and people start grabbing. If you get a guillotine and people are grabbing the inside of that glove, it's hard. It's a lot harder to finish stuff when people have gloves on.
Well, some people finish with it. Josh Thompson used to grab his own glove, which you can do. You could get deep in there. I saw him choke somebody out with that. I was like, ooh, you can do that. I think you can grab your own glove.
Yeah.
And that makes a nice handle if you can slip your fingers in there.
You have to train with them if you're going to fight with them. You have to.
Oh, it's amazing how hard it is to choke people when you have those, especially those pride gloves, the big padded ones. Even Marcelo Garcia was having a really hard time with it when he had his one lone MMA fight.
Yeah.
I mean, he had this dude's back and he couldn't finish him, and a lot of it is because of those extra pads.
They make a big difference. They really do.
I don't think you should wear gloves. I really don't.
I totally agree with you.
I think fighting, if you could kick somebody in the shin to the face, like you can shin somebody in the face, but you can't knuckle them in the face.
Yeah, no, I think it would be so helpful for all the head trauma that's happening if they took off the gloves and you had to either strike with an open palm or you had to pay the price, because I might hit you twice before I broke my hand and now I'm going to be grappling with you and trying to take you down.
I don't think people understand that if someone just ducks their head down and you hit them with a straight punch to the forehead, you are very likely to break your hand. I don't think you should be able to wrap your hands either.
Yeah.
I really don't.
That would be awesome. I think
you should have a cup on and a mouthpiece and shorts.
Yep.
And I really think that's it.
Yep.
I mean, and people are like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. You're a barbarian. They need to cover the glove. No, they don't.
You're less of a barbarian.
You make yourself more able to hit someone, and you don't really help them at all. Like, it's harder to hit someone bare knuckle.
Yeah,
like it's more realistic.
Yeah, I wish they would make that change. Yeah. I wish that would change everything.
How come you can elbow somebody but you can't bare knuckle them? That's crazy. Your knuckles are way more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like, it's way harder to get that off until you wrap it up. Then you make it like a cast. You wrap it up and you get some, like a nice stiff wrist wrap where your wrist isn't going anywhere. You don't have to worry about buckling and flexing when you punch someone.
It's hardcore when they wrap up those hands, boy. Like, even like holding pads for guys when we're backstage getting ready. Like, they just turn it up.
Yeah, yeah.
But they'll never make that change, I don't think.
I think they should.
And I think for the head trauma of the people that are fighting is that's who really needs it.
For sure.
Hit in the head all those times. And it's not good for you.
No, it's not good for you. And again, that goes back to the grappling thing. I think we see more submissions. I think it would be way easier to catch people with stuff. Like, it'd be way easier to secure guillotines and chokes. It's just you wouldn't have all these restrictions of having something on your hands. Your hands need to be able to articulate and move to secure certain grips, and you'd see a lot more submissions, I think.
Yeah, it's too bad they don't make that change. It'd be better for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first started working for the UFC, you didn't have to wear gloves. Vitor was one of the first guys to wear them. Vitor and Tank. Tank was one of the first guys ever to wear gloves. And he wore those gloves that he was wearing were like old school century martial arts Chuck Norris gloves. Like, nobody had even thought to wear those. I think Tank was like the innovator.
Yeah, Tank was an innovator for sure. Then Vitor innovated his head.
Yeah.
Pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, man. Vitor, in the early days, I was there, his first fight in 1997, the first time at UFC 12. Nobody had seen anything like that. This guy comes in with his blazing hand speed, built like a fucking Greek god, and everybody's like, oh, Jesus, what do you do with this fucking kid?
Yeah. That was interesting, and of course, we all heard, because I was, a jiu-jitsu guy at that time, we were like, oh, he's only a purple belt, is what we were hearing. And they gave him his black belt just because he's doing this fight and blah, blah, blah. He's only a purple belt. And he comes out and just, 13 punches to the face, bop, bop, bop. And then he did the same thing to Vanderlei, pop, 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 pop. Straight punches down the pipe. Crazy.
Yeah, when he fought Vanderlei, he was wearing shoes. Remember that? He was wearing, like, wrestling shoes. There's all these wacky rules back then. It's really interesting to see, like, from 1993 to 2017, how far fighting has changed and how much we know about it now.
Yeah. I always say that fighting in 1992 was theoretical. And we, somebody will say something to me on the internet like, hey, what about this martial art or whatever? And I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And I'm like, there's no reason to theorize. Not only do we know from the UFC, we also have been now a country at war. Pipes. And I look at the same time, I look at, at Johnny Bones Jones, and I go, I wouldn't have done what he just did. I look at McGregor, and I go, you know what? He's got some little spark that I don't have.
He's got a flair.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a flair that McGregor has that's half of what he does. I mean, he's unbelievably talented. He's got ridiculous power, but there's also this flair about him. When he fucking walks in there flinging his arms, and then he stands there in front of his opponent and goes like that. There's something about him. Yeah. The fucking audaciousness of his, he's just so ridiculous.
But it really impressed me when he came back and beat Nate. That really impressed. And I thought it was a very close fight. I actually, and I'll have to watch it again. I usually don't watch fights more than once, but I know it was very, very close.
Nate could have won that fight.
Yeah,
I thought Nate could have won it.
Yeah, I thought so too, but it didn't. And even just as close as it was, I was impressed. And that was, I think, one of the most impressive feats I've seen as far as that mental game we're talking about. Yeah. To come back and say, you know what? I'm gonna do it this time.
That he even wanted to come back.
Yeah, at 170 again. That was at 170, right? The second fight was too.
Yes, it was. Yes,
impressive.
It was very impressive. A lot of people don't know that he had a pretty bad staph infection just a few weeks before the first fight, and he was on some serious antibiotics, and that's one of the reasons why he was so drained. Like, people are like, oh, he gassed out. Like, if you've never taken antibiotics before, you don't know how fucking horrible it is on your gas tank. It's it's the weirdest thing ever. It's like, you could be in great shape, you get on a run of antibiotics, and your body's just, you got a fucking thimble gas tank. There's nothing left. You got no energy. Yeah. For whatever reason, you just can't push yourself through stuff. And I think that played a factor in that fight. And here's the thing about McGregor. You never heard a fucking peep about it. Yeah. And if it wasn't for me talking about it, most people wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad motherfucker. And I don't know. I mean, they said he signed the Floyd Mayweather deal.
Oh, really?
Yep, he signed.
When did that happen?
It happened yesterday.
No
he has signed. Floyd Mayweather has not signed. They're negotiating the
pure
Floyd Mayweather.
boxing?
Yep, pure boxing. Yeah, that's what I think. I'm like, people, look, I mean, maybe he's going to go full Bernard Hopkins, just fucking clinch and hit him in the clinch and tie him up and rough him up, and maybe that's the plan. Lean on his neck, you know, just fight dirty. Let him take points away. Who gives a shit? As long as you don't get disqualified. Don't, like, stand in the middle of the ring and try to fucking shuck and jive with him. But the other thing is, Floyd's not knocking a lot of people out, you know? It's a good fight in terms of, like, to see what the fuck happens. Yeah.
How much money is that going to make?
He's going to make a fuck ton of money. He's going to make he estimated, I don't know if it's true, between $75 and $100 million.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Good on him.
And then who knows how much Floyd's going to make? Somewhere in that range too, maybe more, probably more. But I think that it's going to be interesting. First of all, Floyd's 40, almost 41. Floyd's maybe the best defensive boxer that's ever walked the face of the planet. I mean, he's right up there. I mean, you go back to Willie Pep and a lot of the guys from the old days, and for sure Lomachenko today. But in terms of, like, overall performance against elite fighters over the course of his career, the guy's only been tagged hard like 5 or 6 times ever.